evening, freaks. I'm here to give Leo a bonus read straight from the hip with lots of lip for being the second highest views per sign for that 2023 prediction series. Thank you so much for your support for the channel, and this is my way of thanking you. And as promised, you are getting the exclusive read for the month of January, making sure I'm taking care of my top three. And we are going to be looking at your greatest victory in 2023. This is for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node, Mercury, Mars, or loaded fifth house, a stellium, 3 or more planets in that fifth house, or one of those strong placements. Like I messaged, this may resonate for you. And I did get some messages coming in initially for you. The initial download is that you, not too long ago, let go of something that you recognized you had outgrown. This had everything to do with you really coming to a place of knowing your worth, knowing your value, and recovering a part of yourself that you had been cut off from for quite a long time, a part of yourself that you looked for in other people, namely within romantic connection. And once you did this healing work and you recovered this part of yourself, you realized how essential it was for you to live in your truth, and that certain connections weren't honoring that truth within you. And I feel like there is something that you came to the conclusion was time to let it go. It had served its purpose. It had served its time in your life, and you were moving forward from that. And this may have had something to do with a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I also see this as your energy. It might have been you who was quite impulsive in the past, might have been more ruled by your passions. I think you probably connected with somebody who also had fire strongly aspected in their chart, and they lit that fire in you. It's almost that feeling of fighting fire with fire I got. I don't know. Maybe there's been a little bit of competitiveness in this connection. This certainly could be within a friendship. There could be competitiveness between you and a friend for a mutual romantic interest. This also could have been you being actually competitive with your romantic interest. Like, I'm getting kind of like power trip games, like who can hold out the longest, from saying I love you, or showing some kind of vulnerability, being willing to express the emotions. I mean, Knight of Wands is very much a sensual, sexual, kind of fly by the seat of your pants kind of energy. It's often good for, a weekend of fun, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really have that longevity. I think you did a lot of soul searching in regard to this. I think there were times that you even compromised what you knew was right for you to try to appease the other person in an effort to find some kind of validation. I think in somewhat ways you realize that you handed over the reins to your power to this other person at times. But I see that you're entering 2023 with the reins firmly in your hand, and you're moving forward on your own terms. Your independence might actually be something that's really important to you right now, even in terms of romantic relationship. I am picking this up largely because there's this desire to have sexual exploration. I'm picking that up pretty strongly. There's just this desire to, do what feels right for you, to not feel like you're limited. And also wanting to kind of create things as you go. You're not wanting to get locked into any rigidity in matters of the heart, because you realize how quickly things can change. What starts out feeling good, it may serve you at one stage of growth in your life, but you do a little inner work, you have some revelations, you do some healing, and all of a sudden what you want changes. And so maybe you're looking at love relationships in relation to this. How do things need to shift? How do things need to change? And there's something about this, something about arriving at this place where you finally understand that your needs, your wants and desires, that these are important too. And in fact, you should make them a priority, because when you feel fulfilled in and of yourself, that's when you attract the best love experiences, right? That's when you meet on an even playing field. It's not so much about this like competitiveness or tit for tat, or who is more sprung than the other. It really becomes more a matter of just enjoying yourself, being at ease, not having to define things, being more loose and relaxed, and also waiting for openness on your path to arrive at that place when you're no longer in this space where you're not sure what you want, you're certain. And there's somebody on the other side of that table who feels the same way. So I feel like you did deal with some player energy. This is kind of front and center. I think you dealt with people that were non-committal. I think that caused you to compromise yourself at times in an effort to find their approval. I think that you also did a lot of deep work on yourself in regard to this. And I think you kind of turned the tables in this situation. You're like, you know what? I'm not playing this game anymore. And I think you freed yourself from that. And so now you're like charging forward, and you're charging forward to create your life from a place of what's important to you, what you value, and what your truth is, and not needing to be secretive about it, or have any kind of clandestine kind of arrangements. And I'm getting the feel that maybe that could have been part of what you had going on in the past. But I think you're taking yourself more seriously now. And I think you're understanding that that's why you so often found yourself in situations where you weren't getting the respect that you deserve, because you were taking others more seriously and their desires more seriously than your own. Okay. Big download. I am going to start shuffling for you. 7:30. Just kind of get some cards out here on the board and pretty much dive into the read. This is more freestyle form of read. I'm not going by any kind of any kind of layout or anything like that. We're kind of having a conversation with the cards. So tell me about this big come up, the greatest victory for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node, Mercury, Mars, or loaded fifth house in 2023. What will be Leo Collective's greatest victory in 2023 when they look back over this year at the start of 2024? What will they have a healthy sense of pride about? What will they be feeling good about? Where will they really see that they knocked it out of the park and they hit their target? I really want to get a clear view of where the greatest success is for Leo Collective in 2023. Okay, gave you 3 passes there, the Paulina Tarot. Got quite a few cards out on the board. Do have a couple crossing influences. So one of those, I feel like you're just about, in a place where you have your mind made up. You're still kind of waffling a little bit, but you're more on the affirmative side. Like, I'm going to go for it. Okay. And then there's another situation where you're still weighing things out in the balance. I feel like there's 2 situations here. There's 2 situations. There's one that's kind of set, okay, but there is a crossing influence. So there's something that you need to address, something you need to handle there, a decision that needs to be made. And there is another decision on the table, and you've really been trying to decide between one of these 2 things. I feel could even be between 1 or 2 people. For some reason, you felt held back. You held back from making an affirmative choice, but I feel like you're just about to make your choice and choose your direction. And that's really going to set the tone for 2023 and what leads to your victory. So let's have a look at it. You have to excuse me. I'm getting over bronchitis, so I still have a little congestion going on. Okay. All right. So I think where you're at right now, it's interesting because it's coming up as a crossing influence. The crossing influence is the 8 of Swords. And I'm going to let you look at it upright just so you can get a clear view. Ooh, I turned it upside down. Isn't that interesting? Maybe you're just about to free yourself. Maybe you're just about to come out of this story you've been telling yourself. The woe is me. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm trapped. I'm stuck. There's no way I can change my circumstances. You know, we see this figure, they may be blindfolded, but they actually can kind of see. And let's be real, I'm going to call it out, okay? I'm going to call it out because I feel like just with the way it came up reverse for a moment, there could also be a little fair amount of shadow play in this. Maybe in the past, sometimes you kind of played the damsel or the dude in distress kind of role, like you needed somebody to come along and rescue you or save you, or that kind of Disney knight in shining armor complex. And you realize that all that really did for you is get you a whole lot of waiting around with no delivery. And I think you've been kind of manning this post for quite a while. I'm getting big time like Rapunzel vibes. Like, honey, it's time to let your hair down, and not so somebody can fucking pull up on it like a Neanderthal, you know, and try to claim some victory by taking your dignity from you and saying they rescued you when you know damn well you got to save yourself in this situation. Okay. And I see you doing that. I see that this is your victory. This is the seeds of your victory, is you really getting to the place you realize that you had the power all along. You're not stuck. You're not stuck. And you don't need to be afraid of looking at the truth for what it is. It's okay. You know, just because you like sweep something under the rug or you avoid it by other means, numbing out with food, numbing out with, alcohol, numbing out with meaningless hookups, whatever it may be, the vices, we all have them, okay? No judgment. We all have them. We've all been working through our shadow stuff with this South Node Scorpio action that's been going on. I think at a certain point, the pain began to outweigh the reward, and you really decided, like, I can't avoid this anymore. I see you taking off the blindfold. I see you rediscovering your strength, your ability to face the truth with honesty, no matter what it is, and to stop playing like you need anybody to rescue you, to kind of proverbially, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and do what needs to be done. You're not even tied or bound here. This is such loose bonds anyway. And maybe you've been looking at this a bit too. Maybe you've been looking at the ways that you were so loyal to the cause. You really hung in there for so long, and you did all the things, and you played the role that you thought you needed to play to enter the house of love. And then you realize, you know what, this ain't it. This ain't it. And you realize that to enter the house of love, the only way in is through you, and this helps you get through this illusion. I think your greatest victory in 2023 is you're freeing yourself from illusion, and you're freeing yourself from illusion around matters of the heart. In particular, this could be around somebody that has a strong water sign placement, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. This is also about love and the masculine in terms of love. This could also have to do with reflections of your father and doing healing work around your father, and how your father's role in your life formulated your view of relationship. And that applies no matter how you identify, okay? There's something to look at here, how you view masculine roles in relationship and how that has affected you. You may have even felt that the partner that you were involved with reminded you of your father, or evoked within you the same feeling you had from your father. And this would have been something that felt like a restrictive influence, a limiting influence. Maybe you felt like your partner was maybe a little rough with you emotionally. Maybe you felt like their words were kind of harsh. Maybe you felt like they were closed down to you, like they weren't really ready to share their heart or open their heart. Part of this, though, could have been largely due to the place you were inside of yourself, though, not willing to see the truth. And maybe there was a little bit of projection going on in your situation. In other cases, you were dealing with somebody who was very emotionally manipulative with you. They knew how to spin their words. They kept you in a place of confusion. Everything was always changing. The goalposts were always moving. This kept you very much in your head and out of your power. I see you taking that power back. I see you being emotionally authentic with yourself, first and foremost. I see you dropping the role of needing anybody to save you, dropping any kind of victimization you may have internalized by going through this experience. You very well could have dealt with somebody who was very emotionally manipulative, emotionally abusive. This had a big effect on you. It could have even been that somebody you were involved with in the past was very emotionally manipulative and abusive towards you. And because of this, you kind of unwittingly dragged remnants of that into your relationship. And then when you ended up feeling activated and confused, you didn't understand where that was coming from. Now, some of you doubted your intuition. And I see that you come to a place where you're not doubting yourself anymore. You've freed yourself of these limitations. Sometimes we see red flags, and it's not that we're projecting something that used to go on for us, and now we're being irresponsible, and we're blaming other people for what quintessentially ends up being, you know, our own work that we need to do, our own healing work. And certainly we all have our own accountability and responsibility when it comes to that. But sometimes you have done the therapy, and sometimes you have done the grieving, and sometimes you have done the healing work, and yet you still will draw an experience that's similar to what you've been through before. And it's not because you're supposed to like overcome that situation and stick it out and believe in it despite everything inside of you sounding off saying this isn't to be trusted. I mean, you have to respect your experience. It's not about denying your wisdom. You need to take your medicine forward from the experiences you've been through. But I think that you did begin to realize that you needed to trust your intuition more, because there were certain things you called like way, 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 way back there, but you started doubting yourself because you really wanted this person to deliver in the way that they said they were going to. You really wanted to believe in this, but as time went on, you really had a hard time kind of separating fantasy from reality. What's real in this connection, what's not. And I do see that you are doing a lot of work, to free yourself from this and to also kind of do some healing. I feel there's a lot of healing around the masculine, a lot of healing around the father is coming through in particular, and really looking at the role father played and how this has affected your love life. I'm feeling this very strong. And for some of you, you haven't had contact with your father. Maybe some of you don't even know where your father is. Maybe you had an absent father. Some of you may feel like this is kind of a missing piece, and maybe something that you need to kind of like close the gap and find some kind of healing with this. Some of you have been holding yourself back from this. You're afraid of what might happen. You're starting to recognize that part of freeing yourself is owning your truth, owning your voice, and maybe facing some of those fears. And your greatest victory will be actually reaching out to that absent father and saying the things you needed to say. It'll be more freeing for you than you realize. It's almost like they've never been there, but it's like they've been your jail keeper, all this time, because uh, they held this illusion over you. Their absence, their inability to show up, held this illusion over you that somehow you weren't valuable, that you weren't worthy, that you didn't deserve love. And by you actually like showing up and allowing yourself to be seen in your power and having a communication, actually really makes you realize that the power was with you all along. It has a bit of that Dorothy vibe to it, okay? Now, this other decision, this other course of action, direction you're looking at heading in. Ooh, interesting. Okay. You're looking forward in a new direction. Yeah, you're definitely processing some kind of heartbreak. I see it right here with the Three of Swords. Okay. There's some kind of separation. There's something you needed to move away from. It hurts. It's painful. And at the same time, there's this strange juxtaposition, because I do see you looking out towards a new future. And it's kind of like It's wide open. It can be whatever you want it to be. And I see that you have a spirit of enthusiasm about this, and you're just getting started. You're just getting started. I got like big phoenix energy, sort of like rising from the ashes to forge a new way. I think you're really going to get out in the world and you're going to have experiences. This is going to be a huge victory for you in 2023, Leo. You're wanting to have new experiences. You're wanting to bring a lot of fresh perspective into your life. And this may even involve fresh vistas. A lot of you are going to want to travel more, and you're going to be a bit more of, I'm picking up this, it's kind of like a combination of like rebellion with like a little tongue in cheek and humor thrown in for a twist. Like you're just not taking life so seriously anymore. You realize that sometimes you really held yourself back from going for something because you were afraid of looking foolish. And I think you're in a place now where you're like, you know what? I know that no matter what happens, I've rediscovered my strength and my inner power. I've overcome a lot of shit. And I have faith in my ability to bounce back, like no matter what happens. And I think this gives you like a little boldness, a little daring to move forward. And again, if there is somebody, that you were thinking of reaching out to, but you felt scared, you felt held back, or somebody you needed to like, I'm gonna say it, like put in their place, like tell them what's up, you know? Maybe this person told you a lot about who you are and you never got a chance to tell them a little bit about themselves. And you've been holding back this communication, out of fear because this person really did a number on you, made you feel disempowered through throwing you into confusion repeatedly, is what I feel. Thwarting energy too, just holding you up 22 on the clock, making you feel like you weren't important. It's got like back burner energy kind of like all over it. I feel like you're really breaking away from all of that though, and you're just reclaiming your life and you're reclaiming your power, and you're realizing that the way you do that is not through like trying to get even with anybody, anything like that. It's by you just completely letting it go and moving forward free and unencumbered. So I think there's a really important trip for you on the horizon in 2023. It's going to change a lot of things. You might have been considering doing this. Some of you might be considering like doing something really, adventurous for yourself. You might be considering like going backpacking through Europe or, something along these lines. And I think you're kind of being daring about it. Like almost got to feel like you want to go alone. You want to go alone. You want to do something on your own. It's like wanting to prove that, I can do it. I can stand up for myself. Maybe you recognized at one point that you were leaning on, um, romantic partners too much to kind of define your value and worth, and you're sort of wanting to just go out there in the world and find yourself. And I see you doing that. I see you exploring new communities of people, making new friends, opening up to new things, and this has you really looking at the future in a new way. I feel like your greatest victory is going to be able to overcome that like sense of heartache, that sense of grief that's been holding you back, and it's through aligning with your purpose. Yeah, crossing influence. We have the Four of Wands. Okay, so this is like a homecoming. It's really a homecoming to yourself, I feel, is what's going to be your greatest victory. This is about you coming into alignment. And with the Four of Wands, certainly, I can't help but notice, I've never noticed this before, such delicate drawing, but she's smelling a rose. And, it's also about that, like, take the time to smell the roses. Like, so often when we've been through difficult experiences in love, we always think about the painful experiences. We think about, the things that robbed us of our joy or hurt us, the things that we kind of allow to continue to have power over us by feeding them with our attention. And not often do we really look at like, what was the rose though? What's the sweetness of the bloom that came through that? Because, you know, yeah, there's thorns, but there's also that beautiful rose to appreciate that comes out of that. And, that's the thing, is it's like roses, rose bushes, they're kind of wild and free. And if you go to pick a rose, if if you try to stunt its growth, then you might get hurt, you know? You might get hurt. And when you just let the rose be what the rose wants to be, wild and free, and let it grow and meander as it wants to, it's a beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful thing. And then the roses are just part of its beauty, you know? It's kind of like the leather and the lace, right? The rough and the soft, and the contradiction and the point in between where the two meet. You know, it's very much the same as that masculine, feminine quality. And I feel like you're finding this balance within yourself. You're starting to appreciate, yeah, I went through some really painful experiences. I got drug a hard mile, man. I had to learn some tough lessons. But I finally feel like I'm back to myself again. I feel good about who I am. I feel empowered. I feel in alignment within myself, and that feels really good. I think you're appreciating the beauty of the journey and what you've been through and where it's taken you. And you realize that it's actually led you to a place where now you're ready to step into your purpose. And if you don't know what your purpose is now, if you are still searching for that meaning, this is going to be the year that you're going to come into alignment with it. And you're going to understand why you had the experience that you had. I do see you getting to the other side of this in 2023. And next year, you know, on New Year's Eve, you're going to be celebrating that rose, you know, that took the time to grow and go through all of its different stages. And it's just going to be so sweet. Let's see the bottom of the deck energy. Yeah, look at this. This is healing and celebration. So there's a lot of happiness that comes through here. And for those of you who have really wanted to have, you know, that real commitment, and maybe you've been dealing with a partner who was afraid of really going there. Like maybe you wanted to get married, or maybe you wanted to hand fast, maybe you've wanted some official kind of like declaration of, yeah, we're in this together. We're really building together. And maybe, you know, you felt like they just weren't fully in the commitment. And this could also be for those who are married. You know, maybe you felt like for a while your partner just kind of went cold on you, and you're like, what's up? What is going on here? I don't understand. And this could have even been particularly uncomfortable if you were living together. I think you're overcoming those challenges. You're finding a lot of healing. For some of you, this is about recovery. Somebody within the connection had some kind of issue. You know, this could be anything from third party influence. You know, maybe this person has some kind of like sex addiction, or just constantly needs to kind of keep things casual, not go too deep emotionally because they have their own fears, their own ways they hold themselves back from letting themselves express their heart. To somebody, you know, having some kind of addiction, some kind of meddling friend, family member, you know, I see you really celebrating the overcoming of these challenges, and home feeling like home again, you know, like coming back into alignment with your person and feeling like you're on the same page. And there's like a peace restored that brings real celebration. And for those of you who are dealing with someone where, you know, they were always kind of on the fence about whether or not to commit to you, I see them really committing to you. I see you moving in together. I see this being something you're really happy about. And some of you may even be at the point where you're going to get married. And maybe you thought, maybe you've had a fear with this Nine of Swords that I'm just going to be like single forever, or, you know, I'm always going to have the past kind of haunting me, hanging over me. You know, if you dealt with some kind of third party interference in your relationship, and that's something that made it difficult to trust your partner again, you decided to kind of work through it. I see you getting to the other side, like you're through the heaviness of it. You've done a lot of cleansing around this. You've done a lot of crying about it too. You know, there's been a lot of emotional release. And this is about, you know, it's time now to receive the love that's kind of been earmarked for you. And I see that love coming in from above. And look, I love the sun is right there. I think you're going to get some kind of message of love. It's going to come in for you in Aquarius season. It has you looking at things differently. I think you're going to be very distracted when this comes in. I think you're going to be focused on nurturing other things in your life. I think you're finding your own balance, and you've been just working a lot on your healing. Some of you have also, like I said, you've been in active recovery. You quit drinking. You've just been going to your support group. You've been connecting with your sponsor. You've been doing the work. Some of you have been doing a lot of spiritual cleansing, and you're just trying to get really in touch with your emotions and feel really clear within yourself. And you've been writing out kind of a difficult passage. It's been kind of hard, but you're coming out the other side of that. And I do think in Aquarius season, you're going to get some kind of message of love that brings the hope back into your life. May come from a fire sign, quite potentially a Sagittarius. I say that because we have a page of wands right here. Okay, so Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It's an initial kind of like coming forward. All right, an initial kind of coming forward, a breaking of the ice. I think there's passion behind it. Okay, and I think this is somebody who wants to bring balance to your relationship with the Temperance here. Again, Sagittarius cards, the Sagittarius front and center. I don't know. In some cases, they might even be willing to put a ring on it. Okay. They might be looking for a serious commitment. Leo energy coming in strong here. Look at this, Two of Cups. You got that. It looks like the symbol for Leo flowing between the Two of Cups, sort of like you finding your worth and your balance is the thing that finally brings this together. That's what you didn't have anymore. And it's interesting because what comes after this, what comes after this is the Tower, all right, to the Seven of Cups, to the Five of Cups, to the Hierophant, to the Judgment. And what I really feel this is about is, in this case, I think when this energy comes forward to you, it's not your first time at the rodeo. That's what I feel. It's like, I've been here before. Even if it's your first time with this person coming back around the bend, there's still this feel like this is the same old story. I've been through this kind of scenario over and over again. You're not going to be so quick to rush in. I think in the past, there were so many enticing offers, enticing invites that came from this person. And I think you knew you kind of had to hold your horses. That's what I'm getting, hold your horses, because you had been through pain with this person before. And I think this was the pain. The pain was the Three of Cups that was spilled, the third party interference. And there is like spirit helpers on your side saying, hey, remember the wisdom you've gleaned from these experiences. You went through a lot of pain to get this pearl, and yet you're still looking back. There's a sense of loss, a sense of remorse. 3311, I believe you really feel like this person, like this was my person. There's something about this. You felt a real connection with this person. And there is some kind of rebirth here. We see the Two of Cups coming in with the bats. Okay, so there's some kind of renewal coming in love, but you're not going to see it coming with this Tower. All right. It's going to shock you. You're not even expecting this, but you can count on it. It's coming through. Okay. With the Judgment here, you can rest assured. And it's one of those things where it's like, you did what you had to do. Okay. You stood in your power, and now it's about letting go and trusting what happens. But we do see, community gathered here, and we see you sheltered by spirit. We see you seeing clearly and feeling like you've put down new roots for yourself. And for me, I feel like this is like you found like your spiritual community. I'm feeling this really strongly. There's some community you're connecting with that has been very essential, or will be. Maybe you haven't met this community yet. Maybe this is what's coming in for you, but this community helped you really discover your strength again, who you are again. And this is the thing that changes everything. And there's a big celebration about this, but whatever decisions you made, how you moved through this situation, the way you faced your challenges, there may be times that you look back on it and you regret and you think, did I do the right thing? Because you feel the pain, you feel the loss. This is part of healing. When we're healing, it's a bit about being on that operating table and you're doing the surgery on yourself. It's an uncomfortable experience. But this is like spirit coming through, with the Hierophant to the Judgment saying, you made the right decision by tearing down the false foundation. you did the right thing. That's exactly what needed to happen. And I feel like first you tore it down. Oh, blockage, okay? Blockage in the throat chakra. Maybe this is the missing piece for you. You never got to stand in your power and really speak your truth from a place of inner authority. I feel like you're going to be given that opportunity. I do feel like this person will reach out to you. I do feel they're approaching you. It's kind of a small approach, but it's to create a balance. They want there to be balance between the two of you. And it's going to be up to you to really understand the value and the gift that comes through this, you know, the value and the gift of you really seeing that maybe things can move forward in a different way. Maybe it doesn't look the way you thought it should, but that doesn't mean it's not an incredible gift. And I think it's through you valuing yourself that you do end up, you know, kind of showing this person a different side of you, a different side of you. I think this is an energy you have blocked, you know, for a while. You may have actually blocked them online or they blocked you, okay? There's past connection here. But you've gone through some kind of transformation during this time that you've been apart from each other. This communication is going to come in. It's going to want to move forward with you real quickly, okay? That Chariot to the 8 of Wands. I see within the next 2 months, you're going to see movement in this situation where it's been at a stalemate. And it's going to take a lot of strength on your part and remembering the lessons of the past, and also not to feed fire with fire, okay? Don't match fire. It's really necessary instead to come more into the water element. You know, have some compassion, understand it from both sides of the table, not just your own position. There is this need to kind of soften. We do see this Empress energy. This is a very balanced energy that is working to make peace in this situation. And it is the lion that represents you, Leo, in this card that is biting down on the hand that is trying to help it, okay? You might be unnecessarily guarded. There might be somebody that's acting as a mediator in your situation, or someone who is trying to help heal rifts, bring things together. You might feel defensive against this energy. Maybe you don't want this person around. This coming in strongly. This might be because you feel like you've been through a lot and you're just ready for the next attack. But be careful, you know, about holding too much, you know, armor around your heart. And I feel like this is also your greatest victory in 2023 is you're letting that armor down, you know, you're letting the love in. And this is very, very clear. Look at this. This is very, very beautiful energy. We have the 10 of Cups to the Ace of Wands to the Empress. Okay, so double Empress message there. You may be a mother. If you're not a mother, maybe you've always wanted to have a baby. You could have a good chance of getting pregnant. We do have a fall timing card with the Ace of Wands, and an Ace of Wands is very potent, if you know what I mean. So if you don't want to get pregnant, you know, make sure you're using protection, all right? But I do see there's a new beginning in love. It brings a great deal of fulfillment and happiness. It's because first you arrive there within yourself. I just see you're really going to be celebrating a glow up in 2023. And it's because you've really learned how to love yourself. You've found the places inside of you that sabotaged you. You found what was sabotaging you. And because of cutting that off and finding the balance, you end up with your Emperor. That is a true pair, okay? True pair. So there's some kind of coming together here. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's between two people who have done a lot of healing work, who had to find their own individual balance with the Two of Pentacles. I think it was very uncertain for a while there. But we see where you were wondering, will there be growth? And you had to walk away for a while, you know? You had to go off on your own. Maybe you had a period of separation in this situation. Maybe things got too tense. Maybe there was too much strife. Things just needed to calm down. We see that sun breaking through, and it's a beautiful, positive thing. I mean, this is joy. This is sweetness. And like I said, Some of you are going to find out that a baby is on the way. And this is reinforced further with a page of cups here, water sign energy, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Okay. And it looks like a happy family with the 10 of Pentacles. We're also looking at finances in order. And this is the truth. Okay. With the Ace of Swords. So definitely have love coming in here with the Knight of Cups. All right. And I do believe it comes through communication and invitation. This is somebody that likely you were with in the past. You had Queen of Swords show up, and now you also have King of Swords to go. That's a true pair, okay? There's some kind of reunion, reconciliation happening here for a lot of you. And for those of you who haven't actually separated from somebody, there was a period you went through challenges in your relationship where things kind of went cold, where you weren't on the same page with each other. There was some kind of falling out difficulty. I see you reconciling this, getting through to the other side, but it's had everything to do with you really taking accountability for your peace, doing your work, and letting go of controlling the other's healing process and their growth process. And this is what brings you into union with the Two of Cups. And I see that this is really going to be what you're celebrating in 2023. And it has everything with you doing the work with the Devil to the Eight of Pentacles to overcome the vices, the ways that you were posturing, the game playing. You know, maybe one person in this scenario kind of used money, security, status to sort of control the other person. Maybe the other was, you know, kind of putting on that the connection was more just purely sexual, you know, and maybe they were not really showing their true feelings, not showing the true depth of their emotions. But once you did the work to overcome these toxic tendencies, it allows you to get on the same page and work together. You come in from out of the cold and feeling like you're lacking. I think both of you went cold in this situation, but really both of you were feeling the hurt of this, of being kind of frozen out of each other's lives. And I see you resolving this with the Six of Pentacles. It's not going to just happen of its own accord. I mean, you both have to do the work, but I do see the work being invested. And we do have a victory here with the Six of Wands, overcoming the challenges, doing the work, doing what's necessary to cooperate with each other, get on the same page, all right? Really positive energy. Cut of the deck. Knight of Swords. Okay, air sign energy factoring really strongly in your chart. And we got the Queen of Swords right there. And the Queen of Swords comes in with that Knight of Wands to the Knight of Pentacles and to the Queen of Wands. All right. So again, this is about you, you know, you're still looking back. You're still looking back, you know, to this person from the past. I do feel like there was somebody really foundational in throwing a wrench in your situation. And it was somebody who, you know, you had kind of like, it was more of a sexual connection. This person was somebody who would never make like a solid commitment, you know. Air sign energy strongly aspected Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, fire sign collective 2. That's also you, Leo. Okay, so Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Person you were dealing with could have had one of those signs or both strongly aspected in their chart. They could be strong air and fire, but we see, you know, that the feminine in this situation is still looking back, you know, still looking back, and you know, you're going the other way, you know, you're moving on. You may feel also like you're looking back at somebody, and they're moving on. And I think that your greatest victory in 2023 is that you're finally, you know, investing the energy in yourself. You're taking your time with the Knight of Pentacles. You know what you want to grow for yourself. Look for a really positive beginning in the spring that gives you an idea of what's developing for you and what you're going to see come to fruition. I see this particularly in the area of your career. You're growing something for yourself. You have something you want to cultivate for yourself. And you're going to take action on this. And this is going to kind of be your rebirth energy. We got Knight of Swords here. I think you're taking a risk. You're putting yourself out there. You're feeling yourself again. You're back in your element with that Queen of Wands. It's like maybe your fire got snuffed out for a little bit, but I see that, something is coming in to kind of like stoke the flames of passion. And it very well could be a declaration of love. And it kind of takes you by surprise. That's what I'm picking up. But it's all because of the work that you have done on yourself. And that's what I think is so beautiful about your greatest victory in 2023. It's because you stopped putting the power in somebody else's hands and you said, hey, if I want something more for myself, I have to step into more of who I am, is what it really came down to, and not, relate my value and my worth according to somebody else's, perception of me. And this is what really turned it all around for you. All right. And I want to go ahead and just get you an overarching theme for 2023. See what will be the greatest victory for Leo Collective in 2023. Put one on it for me, Spirit. What will be the greatest victory? Okay. Yeah, look, I'm telling you, you have the lilies. Okay. So again, I do pick up strong third-party influence. I don't know if there were multiple players involved in your situation or if it was a clandestine arrangement or somebody who was with somebody else that, maybe it was a past love and then they, got committed to somebody else and you still, felt the longing for them. But I think this is you really coming to a place of understanding that there was beautiful things that came through this connection for you and that you'll always have love for this person. You're always going to have love for what they awakened in you. But you're finally at that place where you're really at the place of forgiveness and letting go. And it has everything to do with the work that you've done on yourself in regard to this. It's like you've let go of any bitterness or anger or need to, change the way the story ended up playing out. And instead, you're starting to tap into the potential of what's on offer for you now. And because you got to this place of rising above what once really held you down, you set yourself free. And this allows you to step into a beautiful love relationship in 2023 with somebody who they've done their shit too. They've done their work too. And the way you two connect and come together is just going to be such a powerful experience for you, a homecoming for you of what it means to really be able to give yourself over to love because it's safe, and not because the other person makes it safe, but because you trust yourself. You're going to finally recognize what a beautiful gift that connection in the past was for you. And it's going to be such a moment of revelation on your path. Good stuff, Leo.